Hey everyone, welcome along. This is a bonus episode of the Undercut for 2025. It's our farewell to the season somewhat, but we're doing a Q&A episode where you ask the questions on Facebook at V8 Sleuth and we will provide the answers. Jack Perkins, James Moffat, are you feeling very answery today? Have you got something for our faithful?
Well, I hope I haven't already jumped on the comments, Noons, and commented back to them with an answer, but no, this is great. Obviously integrating the people that watch or listen to our show, so thanks for playing a part.
Let's get barreling into it. Brett Noss asked the question, is that Noss or Nossie? Is it like Gossy or Goss? I'm not sure.
Nose, is it Nose?
Nose. It might be. Brett, please send us a note and tell us how to pronounce your surname. Should they have a minor premiership trophy before the final chase in Supercars? That way, Brock Feeney would have been awarded for his fantastic drive. Now, I'd say, Brett, that they've got one, the Sprint Cup, but there's a problem with it that I think we need to fix for next year. It's not a cup, it's a trophy. So if you're going to have a cup, it's got to be an actual cup.
Yeah, that was a fair oversight. I think we brought that up when the cup trophy was awarded to Brock. So, yep, but you're right. It's already in place, Brett. So, yeah, we'll see who wins it in 2026.
Should it, Jack, perhaps be named after a legend of the sport? Obviously, Repco, massive part of the championship, massive part of the Sprint Cup format, but probably an opportunity there to name it in honour of a legend.
Yeah, I guess, you know, what the point that Brett's probably trying to make is maybe we need to amplify it a bit more and pump it up to something that's, you know, not just something that's sort of lightly celebrated. So, yeah, if we were to credit someone's name to it, you know, to me, to be honest, you start to think of champions and who's won the most. And Jamie Whincup at 7 times would be probably the right guy when you think about it, but you probably want to go back in generation as well. But I think, yeah, if they can amplify that a bit more and celebrate, you know, in NASCAR, they celebrate the in-season champion before the playoffs. So, yeah, something that could be celebrated with a nice perpetual cup.
Carl Matthews' question, does the point structure for the finals get tweaked for next year? He believes the regular season champs should get rewarded with bonus points to see them into the finals like they do in NASCAR. Now, they do get points in terms of the reset after each round of the finals that puts the driver who's in front with an advantage, albeit not a massive one. Would we like to see a bit more given to the guy that's leading into each round of the finals?
I haven't given it a huge amount of consideration, but I feel like I was comfortable with how the point structure was this year in terms of bonus points or whatever you want to call it. So naturally, with it being the first version of the finals and that concept for Supercars, maybe some tweaking needs to be had, but I wouldn't have said that a whole lot of change needs to occur.
Yeah, I agree with James. You know, I don't think it needs to be tweaked too much. I mean, you want to go into the finals with kind of everyone having an opportunity, you know, and again, I use a sporting analogy. When you start the grand final or a cricket game, doesn't matter what's happened before, you're at 0. So I don't think it needs too much tweaking. I can respect that maybe whoever won the respective sprint and endurance cups potentially gets some kind of bonus, but whatever they do to tweak it, just don't make it too complicated. And it was quite tricky even from our point of view to kind of understand heading into a few of the races what the point system and structure was going to be. Once it was all decided and calculated, it was pretty easy, but trying to get your head around doing that, you needed to be Rain Man. So hopefully whatever it is quite easy for not just us to follow, but for people like Carl and Brett that have asked questions of it all.
You good with it, Noons?
I'm good with it, yeah. I think that you earn an advantage by being on top of the points leading into each round of the finals. Yeah, I was comfortable with the weighting there. I mean, it's very different when you're in the game and it's affecting your championship and your career and your season, but there is a reward there for performing well during the year. Probably the one thing I'd like to see, there's a bigger free kick given, maybe more bonus points for winning the Sprint Cup and the Enduro Cup, 25 points for each. I reckon you could probably give 50 for each to really elevate the status of being the winners of those 2 awards. But
especially Bathurst too, right?
Yeah, which is usually going to form a crucial part of who wins the Ryco Enduro Cup. But that was a great part to this year too, by bringing back the Enduro Cup. With Ryco getting on board for it. We had it back in the 2010s with Pertec, and back in the day of the Endurance Championship, that used to work really well as a standalone thing. But Glenn Carruthers' follow-up questions, finals flavoured too. He said it should be top 15, down to top 10, down to top 5. More people in the final series isn't a bad thing. Now, I would say, Glenn, that 15's way too many when there's 24 regular drivers. I would argue 10's probably a little too many. I'd be happy with 8.
Yeah, I mean, you can't have, in a 24-car field, you can't have kind of more getting through than less in that instance. I thought the top 10 worked well, but yeah, should the championship get back to 30 cars, then maybe it's something you could look at, but I can't see that happening anytime soon.
You can't, James, reward finishing 15th in the championship out of 24 cars. I mean, you look at, 18 teams in AFL, it's 8 that make it through. If you do the percentage of how many are in it to how many get through.
Yeah, more get through than less.
Yeah, I think you need less to get through.
I think that sort of number at 10 is acceptable. If it got down to 8, that's fine with me as well. But I've sort of banged on a little bit about it, and you and I have butted heads slightly on it. I would really like to see the win and you're in concept applied, similar to the NASCAR setup. And the reality is, if that win and you're in was in play, I don't think it would have actually really changed too much in terms of that top 10 for this year. But it might spice things up moving forward if that concept was in play, and you've got people knowing that, well, we can throw the big Hail Mary strategy call or something and really go for a race win, and we get our, at least into the start of the finals. So I think we could introduce that, and that would be a good addition.
Yeah, I'm not on board with it, but that's
There
okay.
you go.
We love to. You got to
That's
disagree
fine.
sometimes. We're still friends.
That's fine. You're entitled to be wrong, Noonan.
It's fine. That's fine. That's fine. The question here from Mixed Scanners: in the pit garages, there's screens with timing on it, actual time, the time until the next session. Is that an app or something that can be bought by the public? Now, I think Mick's not talking about the timing screen of races here. You guys have been in professional race teams for a long time. Quite commonplace to see a clock or a digital clock with the countdown to when the pit lane opens for the next session, when the next race is, when the next commitment is. That's an internal team thing, but crucial to knowing. I mean, it sounds pretty simple. Oh, what's on when? It's pretty important.
Yeah, they are team things, and they actually start as an Excel spreadsheet, to be honest, Noons. I've seen one team in particular use Excel, and they're typically tailored to their circuit arrival time, breakfast, lunch, pit stop practice sessions, parc fermé. So yeah, if you're any good with Excel, young Mick, give it a whirl. All you need is the schedule for the weekend and the time of day, and figure it out from there.
No app required. Just a little bit of spreadsheet Excel action.
Well, there could be
or numbers if you're on a Mac.
V8 Sleuth business idea there, Noons. A little V8 Sleuth app.
Hustle, come on, let's go.
Side hustle. I've got enough hustles going on. I don't need any more on the side, just quietly. Sam Daddo, what was worse, Ryan Wood's attempt on passing Brock Feeney or Russell Ingall punting Mark Skaife at Eastern Creek in 2003? Now, I would say you can't really compare and contrast these two things, but they did both generate massive emotion, massive debate on the grand stage in a grand final round.
Yeah, I don't quite think those two incidents are the same or like for like. For one, the Ingall Skaife thing generated at least back page of the newspaper, if not front page, back in 2003, and that was, I remember, we would all remember, that was huge at the time. So two very different
intentions.
Yes, exactly. So,
what are you saying, Jack? Russell had a bit of right hand down going on that day, maybe.
Look, Ryan Wood's intentions weren't the same as Russell Ingall's, I can promise you. One was a racing incident and one was a square up. It's pretty straightforward.
And in time, maybe, Brock Feeney and Ryan Wood develop a intense rivalry like Skaife and Ingall had back in the day.
Who's on the side of the track out of those two?
Well, I reckon Woody would be. He wouldn't be afraid to throw a helmet, old Woody.
It's an iconic photo, that one, isn't it? With Mark in the middle of the track and fist up and out. Lachlan Kemp asked a really interesting question. We had to delve into the records for this one. What's the record for the lowest place finish in the championship, despite having won the most races in that particular season?
Nice question by Kemp.
It's a great question from Lachlan, and it plays very well to the V8 Sleuth results database.
Doesn't it? This is right in your
This
wheelhouse.
is in the...
We'll sit this one out.
This is in the slot, and we're going to hit this one.
Down the ground, four runs down the glass.
Every day this is going near the sight screen. 2006, Mark Skaife and Garth Tander both won 7 races. 2 of Mark's were reverse grid races. Remember, we had that format at the time. Yeah. Garth challenged for the championship, bombed in the Enduros when they swapped him to HRT. That car with Skaife had dramas in both races. Skaife finished 16th in the championship and Garth finished 4th with 7 wins each over that season of 30-plus races.
Shame they didn't finish Bathurst.
Don't know what happened there.
That would have helped a little much, but I don't know what happened. What happened?
Nothing to do with me.
Nothing to do with you. You were an innocent bystander.
bystander.
So the reality of all this was, because Brock Feeney's won 14 races in 2025, this is the really interesting thing. So all those people saying, how can the guy that wins most races not win the championship? It's happened before on similar levels. In 2000, Craig Lowndes won 10 race wins. One of them shared with Mark Skaife's teammate at the Queensland 500. Mark was the champion that year with 7 race wins. But remember that there was weighting of points that were different back there for different events. The same had happened to Skaife the previous year. He won 12 races and still didn't win the championship in 99. They both finished third in those two years. So it's proof that the format of the time, the weighting of points, this is not a new thing where if you win lots of races, you don't win the championship. It didn't just happen because of finals.
What would be most impressive, Noons, is if you could tell us in 99, in the current finals format, who would have won.
We didn't get time to do all that before this episode of the Undercut, but maybe that's a gift for 2026 for you, young Jackson, to work out with. But then the other element was, what's the lowest percentage of points scored in a weekend for a driver who got the most points, i.e. the round winner under the old sort of format, but not getting lots of points, like not winning every race. But, I mean, Lee Holdsworth only scored 65% of the points when he won at Oran Park. And we're just looking at the 300-point weekend since that came in 2008. So it's pretty rare that a driver tops the points for the weekend without winning a race or performing well in all of them. So history does tell you a bunch of different things.
Good stats, V8 Sleuth.
Yeah,
very good.
The team have been working pretty hard on that.
Solid question.
There is smoke coming off the abacus at the moment back at the office for that one. List State asks to you boys, out of all the cars your dad's raced at Bathurst, which one's your favourite and why?
Well, I think we might have had a similar one in one of the shows, previous shows. But for me, obviously the 93 Bathurst winning car is pretty cool, but the 84 Big Banger with Brocky is pretty cool as well. So if I could have one of them, I don't know what I would do, but I would love both of them.
Good problem to have.
Well, I would say the Mustang.
Yeah.
Even though, you know, a lot of people probably wouldn't relate or realise that he actually still did race the Mustang at Bathurst, just not in the Bathurst 1000. That don't really need to introduce the Coca-Cola Mustang. And you know, the position it sits in, I guess, cars in Australian motorsport. So, that's outside of the obvious, you know, the XB hardtops or XC hardtops.
I mean, how many other Australian race cars have had a full book dedicated to their amazing history and the legacy that they've created? Corey Cook asks a good one here. Would you like to see the return of the VB Challenge at Supercars events in future? Remember the late 90s, early noughties of the souped-up Commodore and Falcon with the various VB-sponsored drivers, Motorcana style, up and down the pit straight through the witches' hats. Plenty of handbrake turns going on. Fans loved it. Could we get it back?
Well, it'd be cool, wouldn't it?
Yep. I remember we both would have had one, the old VB Challenge hat. Used to give that a bit of a workout. But there you go. BP Adelaide Grand Final event. Government. There's something you can add to the extraordinary.
Well,
list.
they did it
before.
I did it in a Clipsal. It was a Clipsal one. I drove a HSV. I don't know what I was up against or who I was up against, but it was cool. I got to smoke the bags and smash a few witches' hats, and I think someone lit me up on social media, and I give them one back, and
it sounds not like you at all.
They could bring that back again. There's next year an anniversary of some description.
We're always wondering how you can keep moving the marker at the grand final to make it bigger and better, and maybe that's the thing that's going to come into play for 2026. David King, where do you see the sport, gents, in 5 years? More international rounds or local rounds? And do you think the season should be more condensed irrespective of the number of rounds?
Firstly, David King, that's not the Fox Footy pundit, is it?
I don't think it's the former North Melbourne premiership.
Okay.
Any relation to Wayne?
You can't.
He was the sign guy for Holden Dealer Team back in the day.
He was.
He was.
What was the question then? Sorry.
Let me try this again. It's been a long year with these boys, I'll give you the tip. Where do you see the sport in 5 years? More international rounds or local rounds? And do you think the season should be more condensed, i.e. no matter how many rounds there are?
That's a really good question, David. I'd just like to really, hopefully, see the sport continue to grow, and I'd really love to see more racing. But the only way that's going to come is with, I guess, more revenue coming in for the teams, which is only a good thing, because with more revenue, the teams are healthier, stronger, and if we've got more supercars action on our screens, then that's only a good thing. So condensing the season would be a great thing, but the trouble we have with our sporting landscape is we condense it throughout the year. We are head-to-head with NRL and AFL, which is always a challenge for our industry. But, I think the way that the finals are played out and the positivity around that, Bathurst is always our marquee event, and now we bookend that with, I guess, the Adelaide event at the end of the year. Let's just keep, hopefully it continues to grow.
There's been a lot of discussion around what happens or what could happen with international rounds, a mooted Asian series. We've heard all this before. It hasn't worked. There's not piles of promoters out there with huge checks to bring the circus across to whichever country it may be. Trying to get more local rounds, and obviously 2 in New Zealand next year is a win. It absolutely fits the profile of the championship, but the constant drive for international events, unless there's someone paying a massive check to fly the whole thing there, it's not going to happen.
No, and that's further to Moff's point about, to get more racing, the business needs more revenue, because you can't just bolt 3 or 4 races on and expect the team's sponsors to just write a bigger check. It just doesn't happen that easily, although we all want more racing. When there's 3 or 4 weeks in between events, it's not great for the business. People switch off, people watch other sports and so on. I think that's what's been great since Bathurst. We've been in clear air with footy codes and the cricket hadn't started and things like that. So that's really given us good momentum. Further to your point, having 2 in New Zealand just makes sense. Like, we're going all the way over there, so I think that's a fantastic addition to have 2 in New Zealand. I don't agree that we need to have other international races. I think we should be looking at racing in every facility we've got in Australia before doing more racing offshore. Queensland Raceway and some of the other more regional events show that there's certainly a place for a race potentially at Mallala, at One Raceway, anywhere where we've got a track, we should be looking to run a home race. I don't mind the idea of having exhibition-style races. We go to Malaysia or we go to somewhere in Europe and do it as a one-off, as long as someone else pays for it and it generates some revenue for the business and it promotes our sport. That's obviously a good thing, but I don't think we need to focus our domestic championship on becoming a world championship.
Condensed championship for me, though, is a must, and we outlined this on the show earlier in the year. We have this great run home of 5 or 6 rounds, the Enduros, the finals. Let's just condense the front end into an early part of the year. If we go quiet for 2 months, that's okay. It's not the end of the world. And then you come home strong in that window where footy's wound down and cricket hasn't really got wound up, because I think that's a really prime opportunity that we could grab. Corey State does love a question about food. He's a regular on the V8 Sleuth podcast questions.
Causa.
What did you guys have for dinner at the Supercars Gala, and how messy was the aftermath?
Well, I wasn't there.
Yeah,
so.
I hate to let you down, Corey. Absolutely nothing, because I wasn't there.
Well, I did.
Oh,
I was there.
Tell us what
I went along. I think I was table 40.
Did you get the beer or the chicken?
Well, I got both.
The beef or the chicken, sorry?
I got the beer with the chicken. I had the chicken, Corey. Thank you for asking. Very kind of you.
Messy?
Messy aftermath? Not really. No. I think everyone was just quite tired by the end of a pretty long championship season. So I think there was quite a few people who were pretty keen to get home the next day on what's been a long last couple of months.
What about...
Have you got any good Gala stories from over the year?
Well, I was about to say, Moff, what about us not getting an invite to the V8 Sleuth table by the sound of it?
Well,
number 40.
If it was a V8 Sleuth table, you would have known about it, but it definitely was not a V8 Sleuth table.
There's some funny Tim Slade's Gala stories.
There are.
But Slade's had plenty of dodgy prawns over the years.
Let's just say red wine on a shirt never looks great. Hard to get the stains out.
There was one year, was he not, if we put the result sheet down, did not start.
Didn't even make it.
Didn't even make it into the room one night.
He failed pre-race check, as they'd say.
Yes, that's definitely the case. Let's move along.
Which I believe Aaron Cameron might have been a near DNS from all BRT group chat accords, but I better not go too far into that because he did turn up.
Matt Payne was a very happy camper after the drivers have a lunch on the Monday in Adelaide. and that's dangerous stuff. But they all attended from what I could see. Matt Nikiforov, sorry Matt if I've massacred your name, it's been a long year. At the National Motor Racing Museum there's a video room, and in the video the bridge on Pitt Straight at Bathurst is cut out. What is it? Why? What happened? How?
Noons, I think that's a question for you, mate, because I have no idea what Matty's on about, sorry.
Well, there's an immersive room at the museum where there's massive screens, massive cinema audio, and they filmed a range of their cars up there a couple of years ago just driving around the track. But it was at the time, remember when they replaced the bridge on Pitt Straight with the new bridge that's there now? It was filmed at the time when there was no bridge. Right. So it looks completely weird, very different. And I could see why Matt probably thought that someone cut the bridge out because it's so iconic. You think back to the late 70s when that bridge first went up, there's always been a bridge with some sponsor on there, and on that video it's kind of not there. So Matt, that explains why it's not there. No one's doing any crazy AI or anything funny or funky there. It just wasn't there to be filmed. Anita Kowalski would like to know, what are the pros and cons of time-certain races for support categories? You both have driven in support categories in recent years. Races get cut short, sessions get cut short.
Well, I can tell you one con is as a support category you get bent over plenty of times with a time-certain race with it being cut short. So
yeah, there's no pros.
No, there's absolutely no pros, and there's no pros even when we've seen supercar races be time-certain. So it's just all cons.
There has to be a time-certain element though, but it's also the way that it gets presented. So time certainty becomes a factor at a certain point in a race when it's running behind, the weather, safety cars, that sort of stuff. But because something's been advertised as an X-lap race, and then suddenly halfway through it becomes X laps or time. 4:52 or whatever the time might be, it was always 4:52 in the regs. Everyone in Raceland knew that. But maybe it's just the way that that's conveyed and showed. I mean, we saw this year's Super 2 that it was a timed race on the television screen. So supercars are the priority, the main game's the priority, support categories will always suffer. That's just the trade-off for being on the big circus in town rather than racing at the back of Burke in, with 28 people watching and a couple of people watching online.
And I guess to try and answer your question a bit better, Anita, it's nothing new unfortunately. So the categories that do race on supercar events, the support categories, they know that that's a factor as part of their scheduling, and really it's just put up with it.
Yeah, it is what it is. Brian Cotty.
Brains.
You know Brains well. He asks a similar question. Should they reschedule rained out? This is a bit of a leading Adelaide question. Should they reschedule rained out Super 2 qualifying sessions at the expense of entertainment sessions? He says he's asking for a friend, i.e. if there's a session on track of a category that's been washed out, delayed, had a drama, yet there's time for burnouts, drifting, whatever the entertainment session might be, that the on-track race stuff should take priority?
Well, yeah, I mean, yes, there probably should be, but the thing that is, I didn't realise practice results counted for what could be a qualifying situation. So by background, the Super 2 session for Adelaide, the second race, got rained out effectively.
The qualifying.
The qualifying for the second race. And then the practice order counted from Friday, but like I touched on a previous episode, some of the rookies got extra tyres for Friday practice, so I don't think that was very fair. Given that I'd already had one qualifying session for the first race, I would have thought that would have defaulted to the grid for the second race. But common sense is not often that common. So asking for a friend, Brains, which is yourself, I think maybe the drifting could come back on later at that expense, because you look, we had the Xfinity NASCAR champion Jesse Love come out and didn't get some track time as a result of that. So I want to see the race cars on track more so than the drift cars.
It's a balancing act, trying to keep everybody happy and all of the elements at an event on track. Gentlemen, thank you for providing some A's for our Q&A episode here on the Undercut to wrap us out for 2025. We're out of time here for another week on the Undercut, and indeed for another season. There is plenty of content to keep you going through Christmas and summer as well. A big thank you to the team at Shell V-Power for bringing you the Undercut throughout 2025. We'll be back next year with some more great shows, more great content. Stay glued to the V8 website and socials over the Christmas break. We've got some good stuff coming for you over the new year and summer. Until we meet again though, have yourself a wonderful holiday. We'll see you soon. It's bye for now.